I'm Eddie.
And I'm Dom.
Welcome to the Monsters, Metal, and Moonsaults podcast, episode 4. Just like that, we're off and running on episode 4.
Running? Fucking, at my age, a brisk walk is time for a nap.
Oh, maybe for you.
Yeah.
But as soon as I wake up in the morning, I'm like, you know what? I need to go on a brisk walk.
I forgot that, Eddie is the marathon runner, the
Yeah, no, no, he's not.
triathlete.
Although I did do a 10K once. How about that shit? Huh? Yeah,
I can
30
believe
years,
it.
30 years ago, did a 10K.
But
Yeah.
what's the rules for that? Do you actually have to jog and run the whole time, or are you able to walk?
We can move on to another subject if you want.
Because if it's walking, I can do that. I can do that too.
We could, we could, we, we can move on to another subject if
Okay.
you want. Um, so we got Godzilla Minus Zero
Yeah, we do.
on the horizon.
Hmm.
There's been a lot of speculation on if he's going to fight another monster, which I know it was confirmed that that's going to happen. But of course, once that's confirmed, the speculation leads to who's it going to be. So, who's going to be Dom? Who's it going to be?
Watching the 48-second trailer that's out there. In the trailer only, and I'm not going to sit here and try and decipher how a double zero is written or
Yeah,
if the Godzilla G is written different and forms a monster.
right.
But based on when the timeline is for this current reboot, it's what it is. It's a Toho reboot. I mean, since they're starting from scratch, uh, I'm going to go with it being. I think it's Ghidorah. Ghidra. I think it's Ghidra. Not Ghidorah. I think it's Ghidra. I think we'll get a revamp of the 1960s Ghidra. And I think that based upon the scene where the pilots in the sky and the blue lightning, the three different strikes of blue lightning. My only true reservation to that is Mothra makes more sense as far as how the movie was structured and the storylines seem to be flowing.
I could see Mothra, and I know when they did start talking about Ghidra. And by the way, folks, uh, when Dom and I watched Godzilla for the first time and all his foes and shit, it wasn't Ghidorah, it was Ghidra. And it wasn't
Yeah.
just said that way, it was on the screen. Ghidra. Ghidra.
Yep.
Ghidra. So we're gonna call him fucking Ghidra from now on.
Yeah, for
I'm
all you
not gonna
folks out there, Ghidorah came in the 90s. They rewrote his name different for the Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah in the 90s.
right, yeah, yeah. For us it was Ghidra.
Ghidra.
Anyway, back to that.
Ghidra.
Ghidra just doesn't seem like the type of monster to be in this verse yet for some reason. Because like I know we talked about this briefly, but like a space monster, I don't know. I don't know. Not yet, maybe. Because that's why, and that's another reason Mothra makes more sense because she's, you know, Earth monster.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would work, and I'd like to see what Mothra's role because automatically, you hear Ghidra, you think, okay, that's Godzilla's gonna save Tokyo from Ghidra because Ghidra's got to be the freaking heel. That's the Joker, Thanos, Ghidra. You know, um, so if it's Mothra, is Godzilla gonna be the heel, quote the wrestling term, and Godzilla's gonna be, I mean, Mothra's gonna be the baby face? It's kind of interesting.
Well, with Ghidra, using him as a baby face hasn't worked. They did it in the All Out Monsters Attack, and
Hated that.
I
Hated
didn't
it.
dig it.
Yeah.
I didn't dig it. It's a cool movie, but Ghidra as the good guy wasn't good. It
No.
didn't. I didn't fucking make sense. Um, but still, overall, that's a cool movie. As far as the current monster, the minus zero. Well, Godzilla is definitely not a good guy.
Yeah.
They've established that. They seem to reestablish it going into this next movie that he's still a fucking viable threat. Now he's bigger, and we've talked privately already about this. I think the reason why he's gotten bigger is blatantly given away in the trailer. It's going to be the United States bombing the fuck out of that area. Um, that's why he's revamped, bigger, and more powerful. But um, this isn't a fucking heel versus heel, villain versus villain kind of storyline or universe to me. If Godzilla is as evil as he was in the first one, like I'm gonna step on people, eat them, throw them, and burn them, which was awesome. Um, Gager doesn't make sense. So Mothra makes perfect sense because Mothra is going to be the baby face, the good guy. The natural Mothra storyline fits being a good guy. The clashes with Godzilla outside of the MonsterVerse have always been Mothra being the good guy. So that said, Mothra would make the most sense to oppose Godzilla as another monster. Um, I admit Toho's doing a solid job right now of keeping it on the down low. And if I was them, I wouldn't release any other type of trailer really. Maybe one more in August to get everybody ready for the end of the year, but it's still something basically the same. No other hints as to what monsters are in there. Um, so I go with right now before I go to a third potential. I say Mothra is what makes sense. If you think about the Mothra lore, it makes perfect sense to connect into the timeline, the time period, fucking premise of how evil Godzilla is. You need some type of a force to counter it.
Well, but are they going to eventually portray Godzilla as, this friggin' planet is mine and you're intruding, you need to go. Like what if he evolves into that Godzilla, which is basically what Godzilla's always been. That's what he evolved into. It was like, I don't really care about these people or any of the shit on this planet, but the planet itself. So you gotta go. So what if he is that? Because then it could be Ghidra.
I guess it could be that if Godzilla's like, you know what, I want to eliminate ants, cold humanity, and this other monstrous threat. Yeah, that's a possibility. Um,
Well, no, what
Still
I
think
mean
it's a
is,
little
is,
soon.
is if it's more just like they're friggin' the people are just, you know, uh, casualties that just happen to be there. He doesn't give a shit one way or another about people. He's there to protect his territory, which is Earth, you know?
Well, actually, with the exception of, is there any point? With the exception of the campy tag team movies from the early 70s, I can't think of any period where Godzilla's like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to help these people out.
Right.
They have always been a byproduct of his decisions to just bitch slap a monster.
He had a fondness for whatever her name was in Sea Monster or Ebera, Horror of the Deep, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, the native chick who they threw in there because they needed men to watch the movie.
Well, have you heard about that? How it was supposed to be originally for Kong?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
remember it's actually they were going to use Kong, and they never made that third Kong movie. They were supposed to do three Kong movies back then.
that was supposed to be the one.
Yeah, and what happened that Kong wasn't in it and they switched to Godzilla?
Something with the rights or whatever it was. I forgot what it was because it was, partially being made with the Kong movies with Universal,
Yeah.
which is why we not to go off too far, but that's why in King Kong versus Godzilla we got a lot of those Universal monster themes, like Creature from the Black Lagoon,
True. Yeah,
for
yeah,
instance.
we did. We did.
So,
But the fucking minus zero coming out, they've got a big movie. They got big shoes to fill, a high bar. But
mhm.
minus one was the best Godzilla movie, hands down. Storyline, backstory line, monster, the whole thing. It made sense. And even him with his atomic breath, not overly using it, he's like, "Hey, I blew it. Now I need to recoup." All that was good. So I'm curious to see what they have set up for a continuation from that story, um, to make it on the same playing field for us Godzillians to enjoy.
Godzillions. There's a term that Dom coined as Godzillions. Obviously, fans of Godzilla,
Yes,
not necessarily fans of monsters and or kaiju or whatever. Just strict, maniacal fans of Godzilla.
exactly. That's precisely what it is. That's trademarked by the Dom in 2026. All rights reserved. Any other use or reproduction of that term without my written prior consent will find you in a Gene Simmons type environment with me.
Ooh, I don't even know what that means, but it sounds chilling. Anyway, back to minus zero. Um, so yeah, I don't like if Godzilla is the villain, it's obviously going to be Mothra, and if it's Ghidorah, he's obviously going to be the turn into the Defender of Earth character.
Why does he have to be the defender of the earth? Why can't it be two threats? Ghidorah's now a threat. Godzilla's already a threat. Now there's two threats. These two threats don't like each other, so they got to mix it up. And in the meantime, as you alluded to earlier, humanity's just getting trampled underfoot.
Well, so what happens when they're both heels? Godzilla wins, and now we still have the heel to deal with.
Well, that's happened in Godzilla movies where he's beating another monster, and it's still like, okay, what do we do about him? And then humanity has to save the day somehow.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Trap
saying.
him,
Though this is like I said, he beats Ghidra,
right?
and then he like just starts wailing away on Tokyo again or
Yeah,
wherever.
that has happened. So when those things have happened in the past, it's up to them to figure out how humanity's going to do something to slow him down. He falls in a volcano. He gets caught and tossed in the sea. Um, he gets fucking blown up from the inside out. So there's ways to neutralize him again.
I don't know. I don't see it for some reason. I don't see it going that way. Just because that's what they did in the first one. You know, I don't think I can see Legendary and Warner Brothers kind of blueprinting how all the movies are going, but not Toho. I think it's much more special to them to make a Godzilla movie than it is Legendary, and I don't think they'd repeat that again because
Well,
we'd just be waiting for him to regenerate himself again.
true, true, and that's what he was starting to do at the end of minus one. So that said, the fan in me, the chubby kid, the current fan, would who used to watch him on with his potato chips and yoo-hoos, I'd actually like to see it be Ghidra, just because I'm interested in how that would work. And we know what a badass opponent Ghidra's always been. But what makes more sense is Mothra. And though I'm not a Mothra fan, I kind of want to see Mothra in this movie as the opposing monster for Godzilla. See, again, visually, Mothra makes sense for the timeline, and everything, the way they got stuff set up, and the the movie's story flow. I think Mothra makes sense. I want to see what Mothra would look like, how it fights against Godzilla. Um, and the other third option I thought about is the possibility of a Godzilla versus Godzilla, because of Godzilla's walking around in New York at the end of the trailer for Minus Zero, and then the hints left in that fucking trailer are indicating that America wants something to do. The United States wants something to do with weaponizing Godzilla. So those could actually lead into the potential that they did do that, and there's two Godzillas.
There was we talked about this maybe yesterday I think it was how I don't know where I saw it, rumor, speculation that Godzilla minus one was actually going to be two Godzillas. and that the Godzilla that we got in -1 was going to be the one that was heavily affected by radiation,
Hmm.
and he was pissed off about it. Meanwhile, there was another Godzilla that looked nothing like this Godzilla because he wasn't all fucked up by radiation, and they end up fighting, and the quote unquote good Godzilla has to kill his own kind.
Yeah, we talked about that, and I think it's a cool concept, but I'm glad that's not what happened. And I'm glad we got the movie we got
Yeah,
because that's too
but
similar to War of the Gargantuans.
but if that's this movie, I'd be on board with it.
I would too, because of the difference, because of the concept behind why one would exist and a
Right.
second exist. So, I'm curious about if that happened, but I think again, logically, the one that makes the most sense is Mothra.
I'm gonna go out on a limb right now and predict that it's going to be Ghidra and Mothra.
I want that would cross my mind too, that it's both of them. Which would Walter's going to be busy.
I don't know what Mothra's role is going to be in this because I mean we pretty much know that it's going to be if it's Godzilla and Ghidorah on the same in the same movie, they're going to fight.
Yeah,
So I'm wondering what does Mothra is she there to convince Godzilla to fight Ghidorah? Like you know, like why should I even? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know because I don't see that they're going to have too much of a personality sway and too much of a story sway for that kind of communication to take place between monsters. I don't think that's what we're getting out of this.
Yeah,
Um,
because then we got to start thinking about the Shobijin and shit
yeah,
like
no,
that too.
I don't think we're getting into that kind of shit with this particular Toho um storyline for Godzilla. I think what we're getting is Godzilla is I destroy everything, I eat people. He obviously has hate for humanity. Again, even
Yeah,
before he got mutated in the first movie here, he was fucking, on the island, eating people. So, and blowing them up, stepping on them. So he's got beef. I don't think it's gonna be Mothra going, hey, I'm gonna help you, you help me. I could just see Godzilla being like, "There's something flying around me. I need to burn it and eat it, but swat it down, destroy it." So I can't see that transpiring here. Um, so no, I'm stoked about this movie because of how good the last one was. They got something to hold up to, and I do want to see, what monster is going to come out of this. Now, do they do the Godzilla versus Godzilla, um, or Mothra? And I think Mothra makes the most sense to me. I want Ghidra. Mothra makes the most sense.
I think the wild card is Hedorah because that's one
That
that
was a,
keep people are whispering about because of um what a fan director is of
yeah.
Hedorah supposedly.
We talked about that a while back when this first came up, and that Hedra seemed like it would make sense for the
Yes.
timeline again, similar to Martha. It would make sense based on what's transpiring in the late 50s, early 60s at that was during the 50s in Japan, um, and globally with the pollution and things that were going on. And Hedora could it be a fucking byproduct of whatever happened with the U.S. trying to restore, rejuvenate, reinvigorate fucking Godzilla, as we see in the trailer. So Hedora would make sense, could work.
I
I'd
mean
like to
that
see Hedora too. I'd rather see Hedora than Ghidra,
so would I.
because
So would I.
we only have two movies if you count Final Wars with Hydra in it, but you know, and that's also one of the better Godzilla movies. The artsy one. It turns out
What?
if you look back on it now, it's better. Artsy. The
Which
artsy
movie?
Godzilla movie, Hedra.
Oh. I thought you meant Final Wars.
Final Wars is a good movie, but we can talk about that another time.
Yeah, we fucking sure will.
Yeah. It ain't.
Anyway,
It ain't. It's not Godzilla versus Biollante. It ain't fucking any of the good Mecha Godzilla movies. No, but we'll talk about that another time. Final Wars is a good movie.
Yeah,
Don, Don Fry's in that fucking movie.
he's the best character in that movie,
He's
obviously.
just he's just being him. I
Yeah.
mean, it was like you look at any of his interviews in life. That's Don Fry's just being
You
Don
know what?
Fry.
We could fuck it. We could talk about Final Wars. We talked about Godzilla Minus Zero quite a bit. I thought Final Wars was fucking stupid.
I thought it was
Here,
great.
I
Uh,
fucking hated it.
all right. I don't think it was great. I thought it was good. And at the time it came out, it was definitely the best Godzilla movie out of the Millennium series. Um,
No,
and I don't know,
absolutely not.
and I see it as a remake of Destroy All Monsters.
Yeah, but way over the top. I mean, Destroy All Monsters was show monsters in the beginning, and then gunfights, and then show the monsters at the end. Fucking Final Wars was like, well, Destroy All Monsters is, the Bob Backlund to the Final Wars fucking Stone Cold, for instance. It's a more explosive type of movie. Like everything gets more drastic as time goes on, whether it be metal, wrestling, or monster movies, for instance. It's the same thing, you know.
I
So
think
yeah,
that's first.
it
That might
is.
be the first. That may be the first time in history anyone has ever compared Bob Backlund and Steve Austin. That I can't think of anyone ever doing it in a wrestling conversation, and it comes up in a monster movie conversation.
Well, here we are. I mean, imagine the hashtags on that. Bob Backlund, hashtag tag Backlund, hashtag Stone Cold. There you go. So yeah,
Oh.
you're right. It is Destroy All Monsters. I just I don't know, man. I know they used Zilla.
That was what I didn't like. Minya, Zilla. Yeah.
I know they used
Minya.
Zilla, and he got just annihilated in 30 seconds. And
Yep.
they made him look like it was a CGI character, like
Yeah.
on purpose, as a knock to the '98 version because of the CGI in that movie.
Mm.
Um, but I liked Gigan's portrayal. It was just the suit that he was wearing. It looked like a dude dressed up in a leather suit with a bunch of shit on him to look like Gigan. And it was the same thing as Rodan. It just looked like in more than any other Godzilla movie where they use suits, that those look like suits more than any of them, just because of how human they looked.
Yeah, I won't disagree with that. I won't disagree with that because it does look a lot like a set. You can see the breakdowns. They look like suits. The CGI being used in the movie is, back then for Toho was good. Today is ugly. Um, but it didn't bother me. And that, they look like suits. It still looked well done. I think another thing is that, that's at the onset of HD TV and stuff at that point in time, and HD has taken a lot of the magic away from visuals. So, I mean, you can watch a fucking movie and know it was filmed somewhere, and now it looks like it's on a set because of HD. You can see fucking the makeup lines and shit on people and their faces because of HD.
Well,
Same thing for breaking up the monsters. They look more like a suit. You can see the fucking sets a little bit more defined than it used to be.
but like I mean, when you see the fishing wire, as Ghidra and Rodan fly through the
Yeah,
sky, and when you see the zipper on the back of King Kong's suit in King Kong versus Godzilla, there's a charm to it though, because that's all they could do.
yeah,
Now, like, well, not now, but Final Wars was what, 22 years ago.
yep.
By then, they should have come up with better shit. So, and I was pissed at Megalon and Hedera and Ebra were only in it for, you know, like a real quick thing. Like I was looking forward to seeing them doing shit in
Megalon,
2004.
Megalon's not in the movie at
That's
all.
right. That's right. It's because it's
King Caesar.
he has a thing in the city. Who is it that like was it Hedera and I forgot who it was, but they like canceled each other out.
Yeah, it's Hedera and somebody else, and I don't remember right now off the top of my head. Let me go to the list in my head.
Because
It's not.
that
It's not Megalon.
Ebra got wiped out by friggin' the Matrix Squad.
Yeah, the Matrix Squad. So, all right, since we're talking about that movie, I'll give you the breakdown. So you got them touching on other Toho style movies that took place outside of the Godzilla universe. You got Atragon in there. You got the anime movies they've done. They kind of took formula from each thing they had going on and made Final Wars. And kind of anything that was Toho Monster, Toho Kaiju is in there in some fashion or another. Um, and Godzilla just basically goes through everything with the exception of the lobster getting wiped out by the fucking mutant karate kids. Fucking Godzilla has to go wipe everybody out from Gigan, which I thought Gigan looked great and was like they could have done more of them. He should have been more devastating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ask Gigan. Um, Gigan is there. He gets wiped out.
Twice,
Hedora,
twice.
yeah, twice. Um, so Gigan gone. Hedora, Caesar, Angulus, Rodan. There's 15 of them in there. Zilla, the Spider, Spiga is in it. Kumagan, whatever the fuck they changed the name to. That one's
Kumanga.
there.
Yeah.
Kumanga. I remember it was a Spiga from the fucking 60s movie. And then he's in it. Who the fuck's that? The Mantis is in it. He gets wiped out quickly.
Huh.
Um, and who else is in it? You obviously got King Ghidorah's in the end. Monster X is the new monster they got, which is kind of cool.
Did we
I
get
did the
Brosaurus or no? He
no,
wasn't in that.
so
I didn't think so.
no. Nobosaurus.
Don't say that. Don't say it like that. I was just asking a question. You're like the way you said it. You're like, no, no, fucking idiot. He wasn't
It's
in
a
that movie.
it's a trash monster. That thing shouldn't even exist. It's a fucking T Rex that they threw in there, and then some fucking lame ass reason that the destroy all monsters. It was a
And
lazy
King
ass
Kong
foreign
escapes
monster.
too.
Yeah. So again, such a forgettable monster. So that's
I
my
like
point.
fucking Gorosaurus. Whatever.
Forgettable. Horosaurus, the whore with the sore ass. Yes.
That's
Uh,
good.
no, it's pissing me off now. I gotta find this thing. I should remember these things. All right. All the monsters. Uh, guys like Egan, Mothra's in it. Yeah, Angela, Scylla, Ibera, the Mantis, Hedora. No, they're all in there. We talked about all. So yeah, we didn't
Okay.
miss anybody.
Okay.
We did not.
Yeah.
We did not miss anybody.
I
Because there's two different versions. There's Kaiser Ghidorah and there's fucking Monster X. So yeah, they're all there.
and that was, it's everybody's in suit using suits, and then out of nowhere, Ghidra comes along and is obvious CGI, like almost as bad as the Zilla CGI in that movie.
Let's say
Like
this is bad as Zilla.
it looked like fucking like Roger Rabbit, where there were cartoons interacting with, you know, real figures.
Yeah, yeah, with real people. Um, can't believe you got this much hate for Final Wars. I mean, if you want to have hate for Final Wars, I think the hate you should have is it has nothing to do with the Millennium series. They basically eliminated everything they did with Godzilla from 74 through 2004.
Yeah.
So they just focused on the original era, which I get that. So if you're doing that, that's cool. That's fine. They're going back. They're focusing on the campier times of Godzilla. I didn't dislike that it's a remake of Destroy All Monsters. I think it's a better version of Destroy All Monsters, but the fucking actual monster fighting screen time is minimal. That's where you should be mad. Like, this fucking like there's
We didn't
hardly
get
any
to that
Godzilla.
yet. We didn't get to that yet.
Well, what do you know? I just brought us there right now.
Yeah,
How
we're
about
there.
that?
We're
How
there.
about that? The fucking yellow cab shows up quicker than the Uber. We're at the conversation.
15 monsters and not many of them, you know. that a lot of them were like somebody like Batista entering the Royal Rumble and getting thrown out immediately. You
Pardon.
know, like the friggin' Gigan shit, man. Like both of those portrayals of Gigan were good, and he looked like a badass. It's just like I said, that leather looking suit kind of turned me off. But man, like I know when I saw him on screen for the first time in that movie, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fucking excellent. And it wasn't. And then he came back, and I'm like, all right, now it's gonna be excellent. It's the same thing as what we saw this past fucking Friday with Cody and fucking Gunther. The same thing. They fucked up two finishes in the same fight.
They did.
Anyway, but
Yeah,
yeah,
Gigan should have done more. Especially with the redesign, they should have done more with them. But
yeah.
uh, it
And
ain't
then
the
and then Anguirus, is the soccer ball and Godzilla friggin' like, all right, I know he did that little dance in friggin', Monster Zero,
yep.
and did the friggin' the friggin' the Megalon thing where he, you know, slides on his tail and kicks him, and then in Smog Monster he flies for some reason. But I get it, but I don't know. Again, like in 2004, I would expect it to be I would expect my unbelievability to be a little more believable.
Well, in Final Wars, those are all homages again to the
Yeah,
original run of Godzilla. So throwing all in there made sense to me. There's it's like the homages we get out of the MonsterVerse now. They're for the deep cut people. And then another thing about Final Wars is that whole little soccer match with fucking Anguillus and shit.
for Christ's sake.
They released a video game at the same time. Godzilla Saved the Earth, and those tie in all that shit that's going on. I might have the title wrong, but a Godzilla game came out for the PS2, and I had it, and it all ties in. All the side quest shit in that fucking Godzilla game match up with the goofiness of Final Wars. So they were reaching a broad audience. They made it campy and more dramatic all once. And again, there's Don Fry. Don
I
Fry's
may,
in fuck.
I may, and I don't know if I'll hate it forever because I have like lightened up on things that I didn't like in the past. I mean, I don't fucking hate Pearl Jam anymore. You know, like I used to despise the shit out of them, and now I can tolerate them. So I can't. I'm growing, so we'll see about Final Wars. Maybe I'll watch it. I'll watch it soon and give it another assessment. Maybe we can
I'd
talk about
rather
that. We can talk about that as well on a future
I'd
episode.
rather I'd rather get a root canal than listen to Pearl Jam.
You know what? I don't buy that. I'm not, I'm not buying that, man. It's a fucking root canal.
I actually need one. No, I'll go through that. I'd rather have that done than listen to Pearl Jam. Yep.
Yeah, man. I don't. I'm taking. Well, how long do you have to listen to Pearl Jam? I mean, that's the first question I'd ask.
Take my
Like,
root canal. It's more productive in my
all
life.
right.
Um,
So if somebody was like, "Hey, man, you can listen to four Pearl Jam songs or get a root canal," what would you take?
the root canal.
Really? You wouldn't put up with 20 fucking minutes of Pearl Jam music. You get a root canal.
Root canal is more productive. My tooth will feel better afterwards.
That's
I wonder why. I wonder why I fucking spent 20 minutes of my life listening to Eddie Vedder. Um, so you, so you didn't like the Final Wars, okay? So, but that's in the past. We have good things going on now,
yeah.
and actually, we got Monster Zero, Minus Zero coming up to look forward to that I'm stoked to actually see in the theaters. Next year we get fucking Supernova, which I'm on the ropes about because when I originally heard that it was going to be three movies with Legendary and done, I was like, cool. So when New Empire came out, I was like, why are we still doing Godzilla movies with fucking Legendary? Um, and of course, toys sell, movies sell, off they go,
I don't
and
I
more they
don't
make.
I don't think that was ever and here's how shit ties into other topics. I think that's the whole Brock Lesnar's retiring at SummerSlam because it's in Minnesota. Like there was never any fucking confirmation of that. That was just, and as far as the MonsterVerse being a whatchamacallit, can't think of the name for it.
Three and done.
Yeah, like a three and done thing. There was never any confirmation of that, you know. So
Uh,
I don't
I,
why would you put a cap on that if you're gonna keep making money, you know?
well, that's the thing. Originally, when they were coming out, when 2014 was coming up, I remember reading a small article about it that Legendary secured the rights for three movies, and that's why there was such a big deal about Kong versus Godzilla coming out late
Right.
because it's going to come out past the point where it's supposed to, and all the rights were supposed to be reverted back to Toho. So, three movies like cool. They're gonna wrap, and it made sense. They were wrapping it up with Kong versus Godzilla. That was all set up. Um, Skull Island doesn't count in those three movies. That's its own fucking entity. And then we got, the New Empire. But, we can have a whole MonsterVerse conversation because it is its own conversation. It's a different universe than Toho. I like that they do pay homage to Toho. I like that it has its own vibe going on. Uh, but also, my God, I can't stand the human factor in the movies. I just
Uh
can't.
you know what? 2014 King of the Monsters, couldn't stand them. Godzilla versus Kong, I like Bernie, the friggin' the conspiracy theory guy.
Yeah, the podcaster.
He was really good. Everybody else kind of sucked from what I remember. Oh no, man. No, what's his name? Eric Northman from True Blood, Skarsgård.
Uh-huh.
I thought he was great because he actually had a journey. You know, he was like he started off, you thought he was gonna be a dick, and then he growed some and became good. And then it was, you had what's her name in it again? Fuck, I can't Gia
Yeah.
and what's her name? I thought the characters were okay in Godzilla versus Kong, but there were a lot of like Millie Bobby Brown and the dude who was with him, the what was it, Jackass? No, not Jackass. He was in Deadpool, the Deadpool kid, with Millie Bobby Brown. That's the movie he was in, Deadpool.
The guy who was the kid that was in the van that was like her,
Yeah,
you know, I don't know. I don't remember.
he's known for something. That's why they brought him on for Godzilla
Okay.
versus Kong. Those two characters sucked, and uh, what's his name? Millie Bobby Brown's father. I know there are a lot of people gonna be like, "Oh, he doesn't fucking remember these names." No, I don't. All right. Anyway, there were just too many like expendable characters. But then what's his name? Dan Stevens, and I forgot Trapper, I think his name was. Was that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trapper.
Um, him and Bernie worked great together. They were like this friggin' Ralph Cramden and Ed Norton playing off each
Kind of.
other. I thought they were good.
Yeah,
And
they
then
were.
in the last one, I thought it was actually the best usage of human characters in the MonsterVerse because they knew exactly what they needed to do. There weren't any fucking families that were separated from each other. There wasn't a fucking love interest or any like human betrayal or anything like that. It was just they're gonna be funny, you know. They're just gonna provide loose entertainment just to get you to the monster shit. And I thought they did it perfectly.
Yeah, that's a good fucking way to put it because yeah, in the last movie they did do that. Basically, the movie was focused on the monsters more than the humanity focus of it. Yeah.
I mean,
Um.
and you think about King of the Monsters, man. The human plot of that movie, that Vera Farmiga character, man. I don't know what they thought the audience was gonna feel for her after she did what she did. Like that's not a friggin' redemption story when, you threaten the entire world and then like, oh no, you know what? I was wrong. And then really, I couldn't stand all the characters in that movie were terrible. So that's
And
E. Easily my least favorite MonsterVerse movie.
Well, again, the human factor in that drove me nuts. Yeah, I had no empathy for that dumb broad anyway. She got what she deserves. And then as far as the picking and choosing which one had the best, I don't like any of the human factors in any of them because each one's story's lame. My favorite one was 2014 because of Bryan Cranston. You know, his purpose and his in that movie made sense to me. He was hell bent on proving that he's not crazy, that there's something else going on, etc. Um,
I think they fucked that up too, though.
how
He could have been like the face of the franchise, and they killed him off in the first 40 minutes. I thought he
true.
was gonna. I saw him like sticking around, you know, but no, 40 minutes. And then like I brought up the families being separated from each other. That whole freaking story is like, oh God, really? This is the one we're gonna use? And not that the acting was bad, it was just, you know, the same old, same old.
Well, in all of them, the actors are doing the best with what they're given. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, I just can't stand the dialogue or anything.
Right.
Um, yeah, I don't particularly care for that. But I'm looking forward to Minus Zero coming out. I'm looking forward to what's coming up again. It's got me, pulling out the old Godzilla stuff, uh, doing rewatches now for dives, and as much as you hated Final Wars, we gotta have that list. We gotta sit down and go, what are the best? The best one is for me, if off the top of my head, the best Godzilla movies have been, Minus One, Shin Godzilla, Shin Godzilla. Then I'll throw Biollante up there, Godzilla versus Biollante, it's gotta be in there. The original Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, and then Ghidorah, the three-headed mantra. How you like that? The monster, stuttering fuck, mantra.
Three-headed
I did it again.
mantra would be cool.
The three-headed mantra.
So did you not mention the first Godzilla movie in the top five Godzilla movies of yours? Is that what I just heard?
I said flowing off the top of my head. Otherwise, no. If I got to make you want a list of the list. Here's the list of the list. Okay, number one is minus one is number one. Number two is Shin Godzilla. Number three, the original 1954 Godzilla.
Okay.
Number four, Biollante. And number five, since now I got to kick one of them out because I made a little whoopsie a second ago. Getting the boot will be Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. And number five is the original Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. Those are my top five.
Okay. I don't know my top five.
I did all that for no reason. You know,
All right.
motherfucker.
All right. I'm gonna still go with the original King Kong versus Godzilla.
All right.
I'm gonna go with Gojira as number two, original Godzilla. Smog Monster, number three. uh Monster Zero 4 and God damn it. I really like Ebra or Sea Monster. Really, really like that movie. I always thought we've had this conversation several times. I always liked the Godzilla movie that if you took Godzilla out of it, it would still be a good movie.
Yeah.
And the whole thing with the missing brother and them trying to get the boat and then going to port the criminal's boat, ending up on the island and all there's a shit going on the island. It could have been its own movie. I really like that, but I can't pick that over Mechagodzilla, the original. So I'm gonna put Mechagodzilla there.
Okay.
So there, those are the five.
I think that list, I can understand why they don't be on there too. Hedra, Smog Monster, um, very underrated, excellent movie, and really the movie that turned Godzilla films away from the campiness and went back to dark, threatening shit.
Oh, and by the way,
He
Final
kills
Wars.
everybody. He kills people.
Final Wars is not the best movie of the Millennium Era. Best movie of the Millennium Era is Godzilla versus Megaguirus.
Hey, oh,
There you go.
ooh, hey, yeah, no, no. In
No,
fact, no, 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 no,
absolutely it is
no.
because I'll tell you why. Half of it is a horror movie.
Yeah, I do see the horror aspects of it. Yes, half of it is a horror movie. True.
I mean, the fighting between Megaguirus and Godzilla is a little flawed just because there's not a lot you could do with fights with. I think that's why Rodan was never really featured big time as a foe of Godzilla. Just a flying monster just doesn't, by it on its own. There's not a lot of literal fighting that you could do.
True.
So
Yeah, it's pecking and fucking flying. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, I'm not. I can't. Do not like Megaguirus. Don't like that movie. I don't like the Millennium series. I used to like Godzilla 2000, and now if I never saw it again, I wouldn't be upset. Um, and then I liked Final Wars. I think I really, if I sit here and I'm honest about it with myself and everybody else, I probably like Final Wars. Final Wars. I don't get sick because this is getting bad with stuttering, and I'm sober. The fucking Final Wars touched the heartstrings of the little kid in me for the original series, so that might be why I like it so much. But storyline wise, the Millennial series, um, Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, had a great story concept, but the fucking movie falls short. The idea of having the original 1954 Godzilla's bones be the base for Mechagodzilla, and the spirit taking over the the cyborg, I thought that was all a great idea, but they just dropped the ball.
yeah, it gets points for the story, but like you were saying, yeah, it's the execution wasn't there.
Looks
Um,
great.
yeah.
I mean, Kiru looks great. Um,
So you're not a GMK guy.
it's a fun movie. It is, but it bothers me. It's a fun movie. And again, I think that might be the first one where Godzilla's nuclear blast looks nuclear. Um, I can't remember one before that where he throws his fire breath and it
Yeah,
looks like a nuclear bomb went off.
right.
Um, it's comical. I laugh about it because it's like the scene where the chick escapes from the island and then she's in the hospital when Godzilla starts rampaging through Tokyo, and
Yes.
it looks like she's gonna escape again, but the hospital gets wiped out by his tail.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Then the
It's like
way
Final
he
Destination shit.
the way he who does Godzilla like just annihilate in that movie? Is it Baragon or is it
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
he I almost felt sorry for Baragon, even though it was, a friggin' a dude in a suit, like he was brutal in that movie. And I think that was the one with the or it might have been Megaguirus, the black hole. They create the black hole.
That's Megaguirus. That's how they ended it. Yeah. Black hole is what they fucking throw onto Godzilla to end him in Megaguirus. Um, and also, it's another problem I have with the Millennium series as we go off even more about Godzilla. Is the movies other than Godzilla against Mechagodzilla and Tokyo SOS, the movies are all they're all standalones.
Right. Yeah, there's no
Um,
continuity.
yeah, there's none of that, which is like, why not? I didn't understand why I didn't have that. That's what I really liked about the 85 to 95. It was one long continuous story.
A little darker too, obviously.
Yeah, darker, more brutal. Godzilla is his most brutal at that point. Um, and again, this kind of plays into what you said earlier. In that particular series, he's the villain the whole time. He just accidentally becomes the hero
Yeah.
based upon what's thrown in front of him.
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, um, but between the two of them that are coming out over the next year and a half, which one are you looking forward to more? The Monsters Minus Zero or Supernova?
Minus zero for sure.
Yeah, me too. Uh,
But that's not
Godzilla.
that's not saying that I'm not looking forward to the next MonsterVerse movie, but I mean Toho's still, It's still me at 8 years old in front of the black and white TV. Even though it looks a lot different, it's still coming from the same place.
Yeah, no, actually, same here, because it's the kid in me is like happy that, oh, cool, we actually now get to see more serious versions of, the Godzilla I grew up with.
Yeah, it's like God, I hate to do it again, but Toho Godzilla, Road Warriors, MonsterVerse Godzilla, Powers of Pain.
We gotta fix that. We need to adjust that a little bit.
I was gonna say Demolition,
Yes,
but that puts Demolition as like, a notch below the Road Warriors, which I guess they were because
they
Road
were. They were
Warriors were
not.
Road Warriors.
They were a notch below the Road Warriors, and
All
that's
right,
not
we'll go
taken away from
Demolition then.
Demolition.
Yeah,
Yeah, Demolition.
we'll go Demolition then.
Yeah, that
So
would make sense to me. Like, um, because yeah, and that's not knocking Demolition at all. They're, one of my favorite tag teams of all time. Um,
yeah,
and
and for the most part, the MonsterVerse has been pretty damn good, you know.
yeah,
So yeah,
Demolition team. The Demolition team is one of the fucking best made for wrestling teams ever.
oh yeah, without a doubt. Even like when they didn't have the lyrics before the Pile Driver album, it was just
Yeah,
music.
yeah, when it was just music, and then Rick Derringer came along and laid lyrics over it. Um, 'Cause that's a solid, heavy metal song. And of course, as a kid being a metalhead, it fit. Even at that point, I thought that song was better for them than Iron Man was for the Road Warriors. Uh, because not taking away, no way I'm taking anything away from Sabbath and everything, but the reworked version of Iron Man the Road Warriors were coming out with for a little while. It just wasn't happening for me. They needed to either be using the original or something else. And it's kind of fun how all things connect together. You got monsters, metal, moonsaults, and with metal and moonsaults, um, the the lion sultan metalhead Jericho. What do you think about him going back to AEW and not the WWE?
I wonder how that unfolded. I mean, we talked about that as well. Like, I wonder if WWE were ever in the cards to begin with, just because, are they going to want some of his podcast? Will he be able to go tour with Fozzy whenever he wants to? Shit like that. You got a lot more freedom with AEW, and I'm pretty sure Tony Khan's paying him quite friggin' well. So in the end, I wasn't surprised he went back to AEW. I was looking forward to him going to WWE just to see him interact with, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, whoever, But I wasn't surprised, and it's cool. He's trying something else out now. I know he's not Chris Jericho anymore. He's just
Yeah,
Jericho.
he's just Jericho now.
Right, right.
Um, I think him staying has a lot going, returning to AEW has something to do with his Jericho cruise, Fozzy,
Yeah.
his podcast, all the other stuff he has going on. I can't see him being able to do all that back in the WWE. Um, and it would have been cool. He would have got a huge pop. How long would that whole nostalgic connection with the audience last with him in the WWE? I think him staying in AEW is a big part of the reason AEW is doing good right now. Like, I felt like if Jericho went to the WWE, that would be another shot to AEW that they might not be able to recover from. But meanwhile, Jericho, if you look at the time frame of everything, Jericho sticking around, MJF coming back, and all the guys starting to get healthy now. Jericho seems to be at the nucleus of a solid roster right now. And the fans are into it. He's not in a main event scene. He's a solid mid card guy working with people who are new and fresh. The feud he had with Ricochet was good.
Yep.
Now he's working with Ciampa. He's working with new people. Just like if he went to the WWE, he's still getting new people to work with now. It's kind of obvious he's there to help bring up other people and fill in a mid card area. And the crowd's digging him. And that song. It's about time he's a babyface again because people wanted to turn him just because of his theme song, Judas.
Uh, it's funny you're saying all that, and you brought up Champa, and I can't help but think, aside from Jericho, and I'll get into Jericho, he's got to cut that fucking beard, man. Cut the fucking beard, please, please. That adds nothing to his fucking character. Anyway,
Diet.
yeah,
I think you should diet.
that'd work. That'd be better than what it is now. Shit, man. Just no, just get rid of it. Just get rid of the stupid motherfucking thing. Um, but and the other
Wait,
thing
wait,
about
wait, wait. Well, let me ask you something about the beard, okay? Because you take his beard away, shave it off. Ciampa shaves his beard. He goes from right now with that beard. He actually looks a bit menacing with the beard and his super skinny physique. He looks like a guy who you know could be a biker. He could be a tough guy. He looks like somebody you maybe want to question as far as interacting with. Versus if you shave that beard off, and now you got now a skinny guy who maybe has a huge dimple in his chin, who suddenly now looks like a grade school teacher. He loses all his threatening look. I think the beard has a lot to do with how it makes him look like someone who's a threat in the ring.
well, he could have a freaking beard, but why does it have to be a big giant beard like that he noticeably fucking takes care of and combs it out and or blows it out or whatever he's doing? Why can't he just have like a regular beard, like Mick Foley, like a Mick Foley beard
Maybe
instead of
because
that
he's
big
bald.
stupid fucking dumb thing he has on his face?
Maybe because he's bald, and this is his way of saying at least I have hair here. You know?
All right, well, it's stupid, but anyway, uh, Jericho.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you mentioned the Ricochet feud. I remember when he first started, and it was revealed that he was going to be doing shit with Ricochet. My first thought was, oh, Ricochet, really? Jericho should be like fighting bigger guys than that, as far as like status goes. But then, real quick, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, he's doing what he's been doing in AEW, which is working with you know lesser knowns and trying to get him over. So yeah,
He
good
has
for
been
him.
that the whole
So
time. Yeah,
so far so good.
yeah, and I think him doing what he's doing right now and being there um is a big fucking thing for why AEW is doing well right now. They got the world championship on the right guy, MJF. He's the guy who should have the belt currently. He's the best heel. He can play any kind of heel, which is awesome.
Yeah,
Classic old school heel, comedy heel, villainous of the villains heel. I like what they're doing with Kevin Knight, turning him. Um,
that shocked the hell out of me. I never saw Kevin Knight heel as as a good idea, but as soon as he turned, it was like, holy shit, he's great at this. So yeah,
yeah, him turn. I think it's also who they ended up having him turn on. And he didn't turn on Hong Kong Philly. He turned on Darby
Darby,
Allin.
yeah,
So him doing that at the end of the pay per view, the splash off the turnbuckle onto the stretcher, that helped push him into a realm where when he came out on the next Dynamite, he couldn't talk. He was getting booed so bad. So it worked. That was one of the best things I've seen happen in AEW in a while. It was a great heel turn. He's also got something else going for him that's going to make people naturally dislike him. He's incredibly talented. He's got that Logan Paul factor. He seems natural at what he does in the ring. And face it, the average potato chip chugger um, doesn't have the ability to do those things, and it helps you hate them even more. Seeing someone else do those things that they can't do, and then they have the attitude to back it up.
yeah. It's like he's like a cross between like Logan Paul with some Trick Williams with heel Trick Williams in him.
Yeah, yeah. And as soon as every time I see Trick Williams, I think of Kevin Knight and vice versa. So, and they're doing the right thing with Andrade. Andrade's doing good now that he's back there again. I do see something come with him. I'm looking forward to the match between him and MJF. You know, it's eventually it's going to
Oh
happen.
yeah, without a doubt.
Um, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised if somehow by the time All In hits, Andrade has something to do with MJF losing the title there. If he does lose the title there, I think he would. I think we'll end up Will Ospreay versus MJF at Wembley Stadium. Frankly, that's the main event they should do, and I'd keep the belt on MJF to really make everybody hate that guy even more.
That yeah, that would. Wow, that's Dusty booking. You know,
101.
oh,
Yep.
totally 101. I don't know. I see if Osprey's fighting MJF in England, he's gonna beat him. I don't see I don't see him losing that. But I keep thinking that maybe it's not gonna be Osprey against MJF.
I
I
think
mean,
Swerve's gonna win.
it could be. But I mean, they hinted at Osprey Omega. So is that a possibility? I mean, they haven't. They talked about it like they were on that in that little segment really quick, and that was all they mentioned. But I know that it caused quite a stir.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Well, you know,
we're getting ahead of ourselves anyway because we got Forbidden Door first. But it's fun to speculate because it's like their WrestleMania. So
it is. Yeah, it is basically their WrestleMania for me. Again, we just mentioned the Dusty booking. Yeah, I have all kinds of reasons to keep the belt on MJF. You need to have some stability with the champion. Let him have a long run. He's gonna get more hate. Um, there's plenty of ways that Osprey can lose, and the crowd still have sympathy for him, especially since it'd be in front of his hometown. Like the Death Riders turning on him, which I think is going to happen. I think this is a very well done setup, and the Death Riders are going to beat the fuck out of him at some point. Um, but you mentioned then Kenny Omega versus him. That's a marquee match to put on that show too, and which would mean Swerve's got to win in the Owen Hart finals. Swerve versus MJF doesn't sound like
no,
the main event to All In
no,
to me.
especially since it's heel heel.
Yeah, and it's nothing against Swerve and stuff. It's not the match you need to put 50,000 people in Wembley. So, I think they probably got something else to Swerve. And by the time that comes around too, I think we'll see, you know, the New Day will be here, whatever they're going to call themselves in AEW. They should debut by then. And I could see my prediction is them against Edge and Cope, Edge and Christian, Cope and Cage. Cope and Cage against the New Day versus the Timu Hardys, and then you know that could be the main tag match, and that should be an excellent match because Cope
Yeah.
and Christian have proven, Edge and Christian have proven they could still go.
Well,
Not as good as they used to, but they still got enough to give us a solid match when they need to.
and what'll be good about that match is you'll have the Bucks doing more high flying shit while you have Cope and Cage more grounded. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I like those matches more, obviously, when there's a balance between the two. And yeah, Cope and Cage, they're not gonna be flying off as much shit as they used to. I'll,
no, but you mentioned balance. Sorry to interrupt. You mentioned balance. You got balance with the new day involved in that too.
yeah.
Kofi can still jump around like he did 20 years ago, and consequences consequences Creed can be the grounded guy. Austin Creed, I don't remember it. It was Kofi and Xavier Woods.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway,
And
um,
again, those guys, WWE screwed up that heel turn. They should be.
oh man.
It doesn't matter if they come in as heels or baby faces in AEW. The crowd's going to be happy to see them.
Oh, I don't think that. Yeah, they can't be heels. They got to be faces. That I don't think, like you were saying, the crowd will be happy to see them. They're not gonna. They're gonna be faces for sure. At least in the beginning.
Yeah, no,
So
they should come into spaces. And, those are guys, the both of them, due to, the curtain being pulled back everywhere now, it's harder. Well, they did get heat for turning them the way they turned them against Big E, but it's harder to dislike someone on a screen when you know what they do in real life. Because,
yeah,
they do the video game shit. They're obviously nice guys. They're obviously a couple of good guys who do, good shit with people outside of there. They're down to earth dudes. So it's hard to dislike somebody like that when you know what they're really like. Hey, this guy's a good dude. Meanwhile, on the screen, he's trying to be a villain. I can't get behind it because I know he works naturally as a
right.
baby face. But you're welcome. I'm glad I created the detour for us. Um,
What I was gonna mention was when we brought up Cage and Cope was I like what they're doing with Finley and Clark Connors
yeah,
so far.
right now, yeah,
Like when the dogs.
we have the dogs.
I wasn't into it.
Creating
I
new
wasn't
talent.
into it. I wasn't into it, but when they pulled that 5 second post shit, that was a damn good idea. Damn good idea.
Yeah, yeah, it was a good idea. And I still think it's funny they spent all the money to find those old fucking disposable cameras. I want to know where they found them fucking things because I would like to own a couple myself.
I bet you could get it. You'd still get them on eBay, whatever.
Probably eBay, or maybe they're actually still out there. You just got to fucking buy them by the caseload through Amazon or something like that.
Well, don't they still have them for weddings?
Maybe, I don't know, dude. I don't go to weddings. I don't deal with happiness that much.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, uh, all right, AEW. Yeah, we're gonna touch on more AEW in our next episode because probably be pre-Forbidden Door, and then we gotta talk about Forbidden Door. But this just proves that
Forbid,
we're not all WWE. We dip
it's
in
not.
everything else too.
Forbidden Door and Night of Champions are the same weekend next weekend, so we'll have the jibber jabber prediction session for all you people who pay attention and are still sticking around. You should stick around. Like I said, you should listen to us. Um, what did I say the other day? While you're eating, after sex, and taking a dump.
I don't remember that, but all right, that's cool.
Go back and
Those
play episode 3. Go back and play episode 3.
eating, sex, taking a dump. I mean, those are three very important things. So
Yeah, you should listen to us during those times.
cool. We can wrap it up now. So we're we've gone on for quite a while here tonight.
Okay.
So we can get to lots of music shit in the next one, and like we said, more AEW. Even though we touched on a lot of monsters today, there's probably more shit we can talk about, I'm sure. So
Yeah, because we both veered off a little bit as usual, but hey, that's what happens. It's a
yeah,
natural conversation. So,
yeah. That's
um,
what
uh,
that's what we're like. We're just sitting on the couch with you, drinking a couple beers, whatever, talking about shit.
thanks for fucking listening, and let Ed close it for a change.
Yeah, thanks for fucking listening. We'll talk to you soon. All right? All
Like,
right.
share, subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. It's free. If you do that, you don't have to hear me say it all the time. Like, share, subscribe. Please, thank you. Sugar on top, for fuck's sakes.
You just fucking said I was gonna close it for a change.
Monster! Metal! Monster!